The last time I spoke to my grandfather, he was holding an old photograph and whispered, "This was the best day of my life." I didn't ask who was in the picture, and now that he's gone, no one else knows the story behind that smile. I'm Mitch, 38, from Portsmouth, Ohio. I never thought I'd end up writing something like this, but I need to get it off my chest. It all started when my grandfather, Henry, passed away. He was 87. Strong most of his life, a bit grumpy, but he had this quiet wisdom about him. He raised me more than my own dad did, to be honest. The last time we spoke, he was sitting in his old recliner in the corner of his living room. It was late October, chilly but clear. The kind of Ohio fall day where the sun hits the trees just right. I had brought him some buttermilk pie from Nettie's, like I did every Thursday. He loved that stuff. When I walked in, he was already holding something in his hand. An old photo. I could tell just by how careful he was being with it that it meant something big to him. It was black and white, edges frayed, the kind that looked like it belonged in a dusty photo album from the 50s. He didn't even say hi. He just looked down at that picture and whispered, almost to himself, "This was the best day of my life." I sat down next to him, confused. "What was, Grandpa?" He didn't say anything else, just stared at it like it was some kind of secret. He didn't even seem to remember I was there. I didn't press him. I thought maybe it was a memory of Grandma or something from the war. You never knew with him. 3 days later, he was gone. Heart failure in his sleep. Peaceful, the doctor said. But it didn't feel peaceful to me. Something about how he said that line, like there was a part of him still stuck in that day, wouldn't let me forget it. Fast forward about a month after the funeral. Mom asked me to help clear out his house. It was one of those two-story places with the creaky stairs and a faint smell of tobacco that never quite went away, no matter how many candles you lit. I found the photo again tucked inside a beat-up copy of To Kill a Mockingbird. Same picture. Same look on his face in it. He was young, maybe early 20s, standing by the edge of a lake. Next to him was a woman holding his hand. They were smiling like they didn't have a care in the world. Only thing was she wasn't my grandmother. That hit me hard. Grandma died in 1975, long before I was born, and I'd seen enough pictures of her to know what she looked like. Short, round face, dark curls. The woman in this photo had long blonde hair, tall, lean. She didn't look like family. At first, I thought maybe it was just a friend, someone from the past. Nothing serious. But then I flipped the photo over. In faded pen, it said, June 18th, 1956. Our day. L. That's all. Just an initial. I took the picture and kept it to myself. I didn't ask my mom. I didn't bring it up at the next family gathering. Something about it felt personal and I didn't want to drag it into the open until I knew more. So I started digging. And what I found out ended up destroying the way I looked at my family and set me on a path I never planned to go down. I started with what I knew. The photo was taken at Cedar Creek near Waynesville, Ohio. I remembered the place from when I was a kid. We used to camp there once a summer. Grandpa would wake me up early to fish. He always looked calm there, lighter, like the weight he carried just vanished in those woods. It made sense now. That lake wasn't just a camping spot to him. It was more than that. I called the county records office in Waynesville and asked if there was any way to look up land ownership near the lake around the 1950s. They weren't thrilled to help, but an older woman named Shirley agreed to pull what she could if I gave her a few days. While I waited, I did something I knew might blow up in my face. I went through Grandpa's old locked box in the attic. The one he kept in a trunk under a blanket behind a stack of old Sears catalogs. I remembered it from when I was a teenager. He'd always tell me that box isn't for curious boys. But now, he was gone, and I wasn't a boy anymore. I picked the lock with a hairpin and some trial and error. Took me an hour. What was inside changed everything. There were letters. Dozens of them. All signed the same way, Love Always, L, from 1954 to 1958. For years, the letters talked about late-night drives, dancing under stars, laughing until they cried. It was a full-blown relationship. Hidden. And serious. One line stuck with me. I'll wait for you even if it breaks me. There were no letters after 1958. Just stopped. I read every single one in one night, sitting on the floor of the attic while the rest of the house was dark and quiet. When I told my mom about the letters, she looked like I slapped her. "Where did you find those?" she asked, voice shaking. "In his attic." She turned pale. "Mitch, you shouldn't be digging this up. Let it stay buried." That was the moment I knew she knew something. Something big. I didn't let it go. I pressed her hard. She tried to lie at first, then finally cracked. "Her name was Lily," she said. "Lily McCann. Your grandfather was in love with her before he met your grandma. They were going to get married." "So what happened?" Mom looked down, couldn't meet my eyes. "My grandfather, your great-grandpa, found out she was pregnant." I froze. "Pregnant?" I asked. She nodded. "He didn't want your grandfather marrying her. Said she wasn't right for our family. I don't know all the details, but there was money involved. Threats. She disappeared one day. Just gone. That night I barely slept. The next morning, Shirley from the records office called. She had found something. There was a cabin near the lake, privately owned, by a woman named Lily McCann. She bought it in 1955. Sold it in '58 to a man named Wallace Price. Never showed up in town again after that. I asked her if she had any contact info. She said the trail went cold. No forwarding address. Nothing. I drove out to Cedar Creek that weekend, parked where the old cabins used to be, and just walked. I found the foundation of what must have been her place. Cracked cement, bits of rotted wood. But there was something buried in the dirt by what used to be the front step. A small rusted tin box. Inside was one photo. It was Lily, pregnant, alone, smiling but sad. And on the back it said, "He never came, but I still waited." I sat there for hours, holding that box, feeling my blood boil. My great-grandfather, the family patriarch, ruined both their lives. And now I knew why Grandpa never talked about her. He was forced to choose. And he lost everything. What I didn't know yet, what came next, was that the past wasn't just buried. It was hidden. Deliberately. And someone in my family helped cover it up. I didn't go home right away. That box, that photo, it wasn't just a memory. It was proof. Someone had made sure Lily disappeared from our family's story. My great-grandfather might have pulled the strings, but he didn't work alone. And I had a feeling I knew who helped him. My Uncle Ray. He was my grandfather's younger brother. Still alive. Living 2 towns over in Chillicothe. Mean bastard, always had been. Even as a kid, I remember him talking down to Grandpa, always bossing everyone around at family gatherings like he was running the show. I hadn't seen him in over a year. After Grandpa's funeral, he didn't say much, just left early. Didn't even stay for the burial. So I paid him a visit. He lived in this small house off Main Street, lawn overgrown, garage full of rusted tools and half-finished junk. He opened the door with a face like he'd smelled something bad. "What the hell are you doing here?" he asked. "I want to talk about Lily," I said. His eyes changed. Just like that. Like I flipped a switch. "You need to let that go, Mitch," he said, almost a whisper. "Ain't nothing good waiting down that road. Too late. I found the letters. And the photo. I know she was pregnant." He stepped out onto the porch and pulled the door shut behind him. "I'm not doing this with you. Your grandfather made his choice." "No," I said. "He didn't. Someone made it for him. He didn't deny it. Just looked off at the road. Your great-grandpa didn't want a scandal. That's the kind of man he was. Cold. Practical. He told Henry it was over and he meant it. Said if he didn't walk away, he'd cut him off from everything. The store. The house. The family." I asked him if Lily's baby ever made it. Uncle Ray didn't answer at first. Then he shook his head. "All I know is she left. Took a bus out of town. That's what I was told. Never heard about a baby." "But you were there," I said. He looked me dead in the eye. "Yeah, I was there. I drove her to the bus station." My chest tightened. "Why didn't Grandpa go with her?" "Because he was a coward," he snapped. "Because he waited too long. And when he showed up at her cabin, she was already gone." That was it. I wanted to hit him, but I didn't. Instead, I left. I got in my truck and sat in the driveway for 10 minutes trying to figure out what to do next. I thought about Lily, about what she must have felt, standing there with a baby on the way, abandoned. I thought about how Grandpa had spent the next 60 years in silence, married to someone else, raising a family that didn't even know the truth. But something still didn't sit right. If Lily had the baby, where did the child go? That night, I went back through the letters. Every single one. And in one of them, there was a line I missed before: "If anything happens to me, I'll leave this with Claire. She'll know what to do." Claire. It took me a day to track down who that was. Turns out Claire was Lily's older sister. She died in 2001, but she had a daughter, Rachel. Still alive. Living in Dayton. I reached out to her on Facebook. Told her I was doing some research on my grandfather and came across her mom's name in some letters. She agreed to meet. We sat at a diner off Route 4. She was in her 50s, wore glasses, soft voice, but sharp. She didn't waste time. You found Lily's letters? She asked. I nodded. And her photo. And the box. She looked down at her coffee and let out a long breath. Then you already know. I know she left. I know she was pregnant. I know someone made her disappear. But I don't know what happened after. Rachel looked me dead in the eye. She had the baby. A boy. Gave him up for adoption through a private agency in Cincinnati. Never told anyone who the father was. Not even me. I found out years later after she passed. She left a letter, but never said his name. My throat went dry. What happened to the baby? I tracked him down once. Out of curiosity. He's in his 60s now. Lives in Indiana. Doesn't know anything about Lily. Name's Alan. He's your uncle, I guess. That hit me like a freight train. My grandfather had a son he never met. A whole other family. A life he lost. And the worst part? Someone in my family made sure that never changed. I couldn't leave it alone after that. I had to meet him, Alan. My grandfather's son. My uncle. The one no one ever talked about. The one erased from our family like he never existed. I found him in a small town outside Indianapolis. He owned a hardware store. Looked like a regular guy. Gray hair, kind face. No clue that a whole life had been stolen from him. I waited until the store was about to close, then walked in and introduced myself. Hi, my name's Mitch. I think I might be your nephew. He blinked. Sorry. I told him everything. About Grandpa Henry. About Lily. About the letters, the picture, the cabin. At first, he thought I was crazy. But then I showed him the photo. The one from the box. Her pregnant, smiling, holding her belly. His hands shook when he took it. That's her, he said. That's my mother. We sat in the back of the store for 2 hours. I told him everything I knew and he told me what little his adoptive parents had shared, that his birth mother was a young girl from Ohio who couldn't raise a child. That's all. He had no idea who his father was. Until now. He didn't cry, not right away. But I did. For both of us. Then came the anger. Not his. Mine. All these years, our family lived in a lie. They smiled, had holidays, passed around pie and presents, all while knowing they cut a woman out of our lives. A child. A legacy. I couldn't go back and fix what happened. I couldn't bring Lily back. I couldn't give my grandfather the life he wanted. But I could make damn sure the truth burned the people who buried it. I started with the letters. I scanned everyone and sent copies to everyone in the family. My mom, my uncle, my cousins, along with a long email explaining everything. Dates, names, proof. I named names. Uncle Ray, great-grandpa, everyone who had a hand in it. I didn't care who got hurt. They deserved it. Then, at the next family gathering, the first since Grandpa died, I showed up with Alan. You could have heard a pin drop when we walked in. Mom stood frozen. Uncle Ray's face went red. Nobody said a word. This is Alan, I said. Henry's first son. Lily's child. The one your father erased. Ray tried to leave, but I blocked the door. You don't get to walk away again. Then I turned to my mom. You knew. You knew something. And you let me grow up thinking Grandpa was just quiet. You let him die with that secret. She broke down in tears. I was scared, she said. I didn't know the whole truth. I was told Lily was gone. That it would destroy the family. That it was for the best. Best for who? I shouted. Not for him. Not for Lily. Not for Alan. And that's when Alan spoke. I don't want anything from you, he said. I came here to see the people who stole my name. I came here to let you see what you threw away. He walked out. I followed. I haven't spoken to most of them since. Uncle Ray died last spring. Alone. No funeral. No one came. My mom and I still talk, but it's different now. There's a wall between us, she put there herself. As for Alan, we meet every month. We fish. We talk about Grandpa. We visit Cedar Creek and sit by the water. Sometimes we don't even speak. We just watch the lake and think about the people who came before us. The ones who were robbed. And the ones who helped steal. I wish I had asked Grandpa about that photo sooner. But I didn't. And now I live with the truth. So does everyone else.